I would request Thakur Sahib of Rajkot Sri Madhata Ji Jadeja and Yuvraj Sahib of Rajkot Sri Jaideep Ji Jadeja to gift a framed photograph of the Rajkumar College, Rajkot, to RKC alumni represented by Sri Vinesh Bhai Patel, Sri Yogesh Bhai Wadhwana, Hitesh Bhai Wader, Nikesh Bhai Mehta and Vijay Bhai Chauhan. I would request Thakur Sahib of Rajkot Sri Madhata Ji Jadeja and Yuvraj Sahib of Rajkot Sri Jaideep Ji with bouquet of roses to our present trustees, Thakur Sahib Jitendra Ji of Muli and Thakur Sahib Kirti Kumar Ji of Lathi. We now welcome Madhata Ji Jadeja to share a few inspiring words.
Arcasian, respected Sri Sujan Bhai Chinoy, Director General of the Manohar Parikar Institute for Defense Studies and Analysis, IDSA, and ex-Indian Ambassador to Japan, respected Mrs. Vidyaji Chinoy, trustees of the Rajkumar College, Thakur Sahib of Moody, Thakur Sahib of Lathi, Thakur Sahib of Vadwan Chaitanya Dev Singh Ji, Thakur Sahib of Drol, Padmaraj Singh Ji, Darbar Sahib of Jastan, Satyajit Kumar Singh Ji, Rani Sahib Jastan. I think Rani Sahib has not been able to come. Yuvrani Sahib Moody, Yuvraj Sahib Muli, Yuvraj Sahib Vadwan, Thakur Sahib Devendra Singh Ji. Arcasians, the lively, vibrant, high-spirited, our fraternity, present here and connected to others from different states and outside India, who are with us in mind, heart, and spirit. Arcasians, Sri Vinesh Bhai Patel, Sri Yogesh Bhai Wadhwana, Sri Vijay Bhai Chauhan, Sri Puneet Bhai Kotak, Sri Hitesh Bhai Wader, Sri Dharmendra Bhai, and others, and Darbar Sahib Pajod, our ex-principal and an Arcasian, Shri Ayaz Khan Sahib, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a singular and a remarkable day of celebration and rejoice, interaction and reminisce, sharing and caring, renewal and refining, touching the highest realms of fraternity, brotherhood, and friendship, a fantastic display of one family, the family of the Rajkumar College, Rajkot. I warmly and heartily welcome from the innermost recesses of my heart to have come and graced us, grace our home, and to this historic and historical dynastic residence of the ruler of Rajkot, the Ranjit Vilas Palace. And this dynastic palace belongs to you all as much as it belongs to us. We are here in this vibrant and pulsating city of Gujarat, of this city of Rajkot. And Rajkot being the capital of Saurashtra, industrially, financially, socially, culturally, educationally. And Saurashtra is often referred to as the land of the rising sun. Saurashtra એટલે સિંહ, સંત અને સુરાની ભૂમિ. Saurashtra is the land of lion, of spiritual high and holy saints, and prudent and foresighted rulers full of bravery and valor. Among the richness on one side and the barrenness on the other, Saurashtra Peninsula saw the foundation, installation, creation, and establishment of the historic and historical, the first ever heritage school on the soil of this country, India, the Rajkumar College, Rajkot. Rajkumar College was formally opened in the year 1870 by Sir Seymour Fitzgerald in December 1870, and the first batch of students began in February 1871. And this was one great step forward in the process of development and enlightenment, and the felicitous choice of Mr. Chester McNaughton to preside over the destinies of the institution, and Rajkumar College in turn gaining the form, dimension, and popularity was a leap towards the desired goal. The rulers took full advantage of it, and the princes were sent to this central institution for their education. It evoked unfailing sympathy and universal satisfaction, and the education imparted inculcated upon the mind of the Kumars the spirit of the motto, noblesse oblige. The dignity, the compassion, the excellence favors, prevails, and the results were visible in the enlightened administration of the states committed to the care of Kumars, who in turn had become rulers. Maharaja Sahib of Bhavnagar, Takht Singh Ji, was the first and the foremost student of Rajkumar College, and Thakur Sahib of Rajkot, Babaji Raj Bapu, was the second student. The rulers of Saurashtra, by their voluntary and valuable contributions, saw the founding of the Rajkumar College, were staunch admirers and patron both in person and purse. The majestic Bhav Singh Ji Hall, the Takht Singh Ji South and North Wing, donated by the Royal House of Bhavnagar, the Digvijay Singh Ji Wing, and the Ranjit Singh Ji Swimming Bath, given by the Maharaja Sahib of Jamnagar, are some of the classic examples of the colossal contributions that the rulers of Saurashtra made for the making of the Rajkumar College. We, the founding houses, are duty bound to take interest in the college We, the founding houses, follow our ancestors in the wake and follow the traditions nobly handed down. We, the founding houses, will not leave any stone unturned in bringing out the best of the college and its pupils. And the founding houses are administering, managing, and operating the institution. And we have 26 founding houses, amongst which 11 are salute states and 16 are non-salute states. And from amongst them, the trustees are selected. And in other words, trustees are the truest representative of the founding houses and are at the helm of affairs to administer and govern. And presently, it is a matter of great pride that Thakur Sahib of Muli, Jitendra Singh Ji Parmar, Thakur Sahib of Lathi, Shri Kirti Kumar Singh Ji Gohil are the trustees of the RKC and happen to be the old boys of the RKC. In one of the annual functions, when Miss Cooper told me, and the words affectionate, loving, caring still echo in my heart, when she said, "Mandhata, you should be proud of this institution because it is not only Rajkumar College, but it is Rajkumar College, Rajkot." The gravity of her words and the integrity of her thoughts dawned upon me, and I realized more about my duties, obligations, responsibilities, uttardaitva towards the betterment of the institution, and I, to the best of my ability and capability, with all the founding houses and with all the Arcasians, would endeavor to induct positive changes, amenities and infrastructure to be improved, to improve teaching facilities and techniques, systems, innovations for the betterment of the institution, and in tune with the motto of the Rajkumar College, Yasya Buddhir Balam Tasya. Jeni પાસે બુદ્ધિ છે, એની પાસે બળ છે. Intelligence is power. One who is strong is intelligent. All these things which go into it and the ingredients are absorbed by the students of the RKC, new and old. When, since inception till date, the Kumars of the Rajkumar College, the boys of the Rajkumar College, the old boys of the Rajkumar College who have sought education in our institute, comprised of an alumni of fine human beings, from poets, writers, teachers, professors, leaders, politicians, educationalists, environmentalists, naturalists, and this RKC has proudly given this prudent propolis for the nation for its welfare and betterment, to take the institution forward and to work for the country at large. The lofty ideals and noble aims of the institution were carried on further when Rajkumar College became a public school. When Rajkumar College became a public school, all the students from all the different states could come and seek education. And then it still went further under the able care of Sir Winter Blyth and Peter Rogerson as the principals of the college. The lectures of the solicitors, teachers and gurus in the precincts of the Rajkumar College inspired the old boys, the boys of the Rajkumar College, to have abiding interest in the thought and civilization of the ancients as well as the moderns. For us, RKC is not an institution but a temple, and we worship in it, and we are the seekers of knowledge and wisdom. RKC, while stimulating the intelligence of the pupils and the alumni, disciplining and molding their moral natures, RKC also, despite our age, has given us the sense of youth, as still we are referred to as the Kumars of the Rajkumar College. Indomitable source of energy, sense of timelessness, and a commitment. RKC has taken the commitment from all of us to work for the welfare and betterment of the family, society, state, nation, and the world at large. The various functions taking place in the college, like the prize distributions, annual functions, social gatherings, athletic sports, and the like, gatherings, our old boys gatherings, tattoo functions, they only intensify the esprit de corps, the sense of pride and mutual loyalty amongst the alumni of the Rajkumar College. The first batch of Rajkumar College of 1871 saw only 16 Kumars. And over the years, the family increased steadfastly over the years to around 1,345 boys, 771 girls, totaling to 2,116 pupils, and the RKC flag rose and rises high, and we bow to it, and the national flag, both before us in deep respect and great admiration. We reminisce the days we passed in the Rajkumar College as the brightest days of our lives. And we into closer bonds. Today the whole family is sitting here. Today into closer bonds with each other and our fraternity. We are being able to touch each other at higher realms of intimacy and bonding. We owe to the college the grind we went through to imbibe the lessons of life through recitations, representations, studies, and coupled by our friendship and comradeship, because it is said that the days of our youth are the days of our glory. And today it is a matter of great rejoice, and what an immense satisfaction for a person like me and my son and the members of the royal family of Rajkot to greet you all over here in the precincts of the historical Ranjit Vilas Palace. I tender my very special and sincere thanks to Shri Sujanbhai, who very kindly consented to come and grace our occasion, and he is my chief guest as well. He is our chief guest also. And as one of the family members, we all are and shall always be very proud of Shri Sujanbhai for his infinite love for the motherland and his endeavor. He is working tirelessly, ceaselessly, relentlessly for the betterment, for the security, for the welfare of the nation. It's a great pride, sir, to have you amongst us. I'm really touched and very grateful to you for your generosity and kindness. As a former Indian diplomat, his exposure, nationally and internationally, is tremendous, stupendous, and colossal. As being a High Commissioner and a Consul General to different countries, his being as an ambassador to Japan and other countries, his interaction with the Prime Minister, President, diplomats of different countries, global exposure of inter-countries relations and their intrinsic culture, his relation with the chairman, managing director, CEOs, and secretaries of different departments and different companies. And now he being the Director General of the Manohar Parrikar Institute for Defense Studies and Analysis, IDSA, Shri Sujanbhai Chinoy, our elder brother, is undoubtedly an unfathomable sea of knowledge and wisdom. આપણે સૌરાષ્ટ્રની એક ગામઠી ભાષાની અંદર એવું કહેવાય છે કે જ્યારે કોઠા સૂજની સાથે જ્યારે જ્ઞાનનું મિશ્રણ થાય ત્યારે એ વ્યક્તિ પરિપૂર્ણ થતો હોય છે. અને સુજનભાઈ આજે પરિપૂર્ણતાની શ્રેણીમાં જે બિરાજે છે એ આપણા માટે એક ગૌરવ અને આનંદની વાત છે. We are all here to greet, felicitate Shri Sujanbhai and his gems of wisdom are life changer. Life changer by way of discipline, principle, efficient day-to-day execution of work, commitment to work, working tirelessly for the nation and in the service of others above self. His sagacity, intelligence, positivity is tremendous. We want to hear him in totality. I would urge my fellow brothers, my fraternity brothers of the Rajkumar College, that here we have an excellent opportunity to hear out Shri Sujanbhai, and we will hear him in absolute totality and absorb and imbibe the lessons that he has to give. Because I firmly believe in the school of thought that education is an endless and continuous process of life. I very heartily thank all the fraternity members to have come and graced our home. And I sincerely hope that such occasions, in a very repeated and a regular manner, we will host. Sometimes at my places, different places. We have the Randara Lake Farm also. We have Sardar Darbargarh also. And at times, Shri Vinesh Bhai and Shri Yogesh Bhai would, and other fraternity members would host at other places. But I urge very earnestly, very sincerely, that such occasions of meeting together is a very welcome step, and we must have that at regular intervals. May long we live, so that our children's children take the benefits and enjoy the fruits of this princely institution of Rajkumar College, Rajkot. And I pray to God that let from the occasions the best come out of them, as it is said that to shine your brightest light is to be what you truly are, and do not downgrade your dream to fit your reality, upgrade your conviction to match the destiny. Long live the alumni of Rajkot. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. We would now have a brave sword performance. Guinness Book of World Records was broken on 21st January 2020 as most people dancing with swords. While celebrating the 17th coronation of His Highness Thakur Sahib Madhata C.G. Jadeja of Rajkot by more than 2,100 Rajput boys and girls. Today, the Rajput girls are here to display Talwar Ras as a mark of respect, mark of Shakti Aradhana, valor, bravery, and women empowerment. Let's give a big round of applause to them, please.
राजपूत के राज पर ऐतराज नहीं होता, दीवारों पर राज लिखने से किसी का राज नहीं होता।
वीरों का सुरवीरों का, राजपुताना है रणधीरों का।
युद्ध मचाता क्रोध।
That was indeed a brave performance. Thank you.
Second match, first match, Nikesh Mehta and Ranjit. Shall I start? When we announce, she has to be there. We now invite Nikesh Mehta and Arjun Jadeja to present Ayaz Khan sir with a floral welcome. Please. A round of applause for our sir Ayaz Khan sir ji, please. We now invite Vishal Vasant and Suryakant Patel to present our present trustee, Thakur Sahib Kirti Kumar Singh ji of Lathi, with a floral welcome. Please. We now invite Bhargavi Wala and Ketan Tilwa to present our present trustee, Thakur Sahib Jitendra Singh Ji of Murli, with a floral welcome, please. May I now request Nandita Chauhan to read out the citation of our alumni, Ambassador Sujan Chinoy, please.
In recognition for your distinguished service as a Grade 1 ambassador and with your 37 years of experience as a career diplomat, it is remarkable that you have been appointed by the Government of India to the very prestigious post of Director General of Manohar Parrikar Institute of Defence Studies, New Delhi, India's foremost think tank in the fields of defence, security, and international relations. We proudly acknowledge that your exceptional scholarship and devoted service to the nation has placed you at the pinnacle of RKC achievers. We also take this occasion to laud you for unfailingly lending a helping hand, your wondrous duties notwithstanding.
May we now request Mr. Sujan Chinoy. The stage is all yours, please.
Respected Thakur Sahib of Rajkot, Shri Mandhata Singh Ji, Rani Sahib, esteemed trustees of the school council, Mr. Ayaz Khan, our revered teacher, my schoolmates, my seniors, may I also add my juniors, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's an extraordinary feeling that I have this evening standing before you and attempting to follow a very hard act in the wake of those extraordinary oratorial skills on display by the Thakur Sahib of Rajkot. His profound words, spoken straight from the heart, full of wisdom, an endeavor to unite us together, to take great pride in that ancient and revered institution that we call simply the school, has touched all of us. And for me, I owe you a great debt of gratitude that you deemed it fit, all of you, to invite me and my wife this evening to join you at the Rajkumar College Alumni Meet 2022. It's an extraordinary feeling, and I am deeply grateful to you that you also deemed it fit, in the great and noble traditions of your forebears, the generosity of your ancestors, to throw open this heritage home of yours to all of us, to all members of the Rajkumar College family. mine's not an extraordinary journey. And perhaps it's also difficult for me to live up to those expectations, those very kind words, those profusely expressed sentiments of kindness and affection that you expressed. But I do take pride in the fact that I was, am, and will always be an alumnus of the Rajkumar College. For in a strange way, and my wife would quite agree, the Rajkumar College, for some reason, has been the greatest influence in my life. As I said before, my journey is not an extraordinary journey, for among you, at this very event this evening, are present many achievers in various walks of life. So mine is not an extraordinary journey. It's just a different journey. And all I can say is that I attempted to do my best at all times to keep the honor of my Janmabhoomi, my school, my revered parents, my revered teachers, the people of this great state of Gujarat, this great city of Rajkot, to keep their honor intact at all times. When I joined school in 1964, I recall that Jam Sahib Shri Digvijay Singh Ji had to put in a kind word. For admissions were limited, and my mother, my dear mother, had to request the Jam Sahib as a Muh Boli Beti of Jamnagar and Gulab Kumar Ba, and they did put in a word with Mr. Peter Rogerson. And lo and behold, the doors of that great institution were opened to me. And I have always greatly benefited from all that I learnt there. In a way, I would say that my life was not shaped by all the great achievements that I had at school. In fact, I didn't have too many of them. Many of my friends here, my colleagues, will remember me for perhaps my performance on the sitar, on the shooting range, and a couple of other things. But I cannot say with any great conviction that I excelled in a number of things, or that I was a prefect, or that I was a monitor. But in a karmic sense, perhaps all that lay ahead. It was not meant to be while I was at school. And when I look back on my life, I find that I was shaped more by what I did not achieve in school than what I achieved in school. And it has left me with a very grateful feeling, nonetheless, that the foundations that were laid for what I went on to do in life were laid here in Rajkot at the Rajkumar College. They were laid by my parents, they were laid by my teachers. And so therefore, ladies and gentlemen, never forget your parents, never forget your teachers, never forget your elders. Never forget your Matrubhumi. No matter where you are, where your Karma Bhumi is, what part of the world you serve in, what you do is totally irrelevant. It gladdens my heart, Thakur Sahib, that you found it fit to mention my grandfather, for he would have been very proud to see me stand before you, stand at this very lectern that has adorned the hallowed portals of the Bhausinji Hall at the Rajkumar College for decades, for perhaps more than a century. He, in his own way, was also a son of the soil, a barrister who twice served as the Diwan of Rajkot State, and thank you for acknowledging those old ties between my family and yours. But to my father and mother, both of whom were very well known to many of you, and certainly I know to Sir, Mr. Ayaz Khan, and to his respected father as well, I owe an immense debt of gratitude, just as I do to my teachers, to Miss Cooper, and to all those who played a vital role in my life. I remember my father telling me from a very young age, खुद ही को कर बुलंद उतना इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. And I remember my mother with equal veneration, but she had a different saying. She said, मिटा दे अपनी हस्ती को अगर कुछ मर्तबा चाहे तो कि दाना खाक में मिलकर गुलो गुलजार होता है. The sense of sacrifice, self-sacrifice that my mother had, simply to see me advance in life, to do well, was extraordinary. And I am humbled today by your public recognition of me. For in my being here today, I also see a certain amount of recognition of those that shaped me, including my teachers, including my elders, including my seniors at school. I left school in 1974, and I know that my classmates, some of whom are here today, classmates, Krishna Kumar Singh ji, Jala, Pankaj Rayani, Shri Pankaj Rayani, many others, they would recall that I didn't do particularly well in my senior Cambridge, though I passed with first division, and that in itself was an achievement. But I left school with a hunger for knowledge, a thirst that has not left me since then. People wonder why I'm still working so hard, why I remain so active in life. But there's a reason. All human beings must constantly seek self-improvement. And as Mandhata Singh ji himself said, we are incomplete till the very last day. We must yearn for knowledge. Knowledge brings wisdom. But knowledge and wisdom also bring compassion, which is something that we all need. Especially when it's time to give back to society, to give back to your nation, to give back to the people that shaped you, to give back to your school, for instance. It is also that knowledge, a combination of knowledge, wisdom, compassion, a sense of duty, a sense of responsibility that contributes to that. I left school, I went to Baroda, I spent a few years there. The first thing I did was to shed weight. I didn't like myself, the way I saw myself in the last few years at school. I wasn't always overweight, sir. When I joined school, in fact, I was a very nippy runner. But when I left school, I was overweight. And I was determined to change things. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because it's in our hands also to shape our own destinies. We have to work hard to fulfill our karma. And as the Holy Gita says, we have to leave the results to higher forces. I was determined to do well. I was determined to do the right thing. I shed my weight. I went on to become a swimming blue. I went on to shoot at the national level, thanks to RKC. I also did a sport of bodybuilding. And that desire to remain fit and healthy, again, values inculcated by our great school, stayed with me all my life. I benefited immensely from the NCC training that we received at school. In fact, today when I'm asked, what are the two big things that shaped your life? two major inputs. Without hesitation, I can say it is the Rajkumar College and the National Cadet Corps, which in my case also began at school. We all did A certificate, but I also went on to do my B certificate, my C certificate. I was a senior under officer. I was offered an army commission in March of 1977. I very nearly took it. For my father thought that I might be a happy man in the army since I loved sports, I loved to shoot, I loved to ride, I loved to read. My colleagues today, my deputy, my 2IC, Major General Bipin Bakshi tells me, he said, sir, you made a good choice not joining the army, for you might not have made it past colonel or brigadier. But that too was karmic. That after spending 37.5 years in the Indian Foreign Service, I come back to doing something that I felt all along I had missed out on. That I was asked to take on certain responsibilities in the defense and national security space. And that is where I perform my duties today. Today we also have witnessed an extraordinary performance of Nari Shakti. In India today, we look upon Nari Shakti with great respect, regard and reverence. For the young girl child of today is the mother and teacher of tomorrow. All that we learn to begin with is at the feet of our mothers. And in India today, a great deal of importance is being given to education of the girl child, to gender equality and participation of women in all walks of life. As the Chinese saying goes, they hold up half the heaven anyways. And today it's not uncommon to see them enter various walks of life hitherto forbidden, including joining as fighter pilots in the Indian Air Force, joining the infantry in the fighting arms, and they accomplish themselves with great confidence and perform even better than men. In my own institute, I have seen that some of my best colleagues are in fact very fine representatives of that very Nari Shakti. The youth, some of whom are seated here today, boys and girls, you represent the future of this great nation. For India, this ancient land that has given to us great teachers like the Buddha, like Mahatma Gandhi, this ancient land and culture that has given to us the values of Satya, Ahimsa, compassion, love, integration, assimilation. This great land has a legacy that needs to continue. And you, the youth, will provide that future to this great land. India is a country that has never aggressed against any other country. But it is not a peace of the weak that India seeks. The peace that India seeks from its great traditions of Buddha and Gandhi, of peace and non-violence, comes from an inner strength and a steely determination to protect our sovereignty and territorial integrity. When the need arises, one must take up arms in defense of our honor, in defense of our nation, in defense of our people. And India has never been found wanting in this regard. India today is changing very rapidly. In fact, the whole world is in a state of flux today. changes that took centuries to manifest themselves are being telescoped today in a matter of years. Whether technological changes in telecommunications, artificial intelligence, 5G, whether military technologies or drone technologies that were on display today, these are changing the very nature of both threats, opportunities, and challenges all around us. And there is a very direct link today between the changes that are taking place within the nation, economic, political, social, security, military, and what is happening beyond our borders. We have to keep in mind that the most important task before this great nation today, with a burgeoning population that will soon surpass China's in another 5 or 7 odd years, is economic growth. And we have been through a particularly devastating and difficult period brought upon us, unfortunately, by the COVID-19 pandemic. Many of you, many of us have been through a harrowing period. We have lost loved ones, we have lost friends. The youth has been disappointed as a result of the lack of economic activity during that period. But we have every reason to be confident today about our future. For the government of India has done its utmost to bring such a very large country, full of different people, different priorities, together to meet this challenge head on and to revive economic growth in the next few years. By all accounts, India's growth prospects are robust. We are bound to grow at 8-9% in the next few years. And this kind of economic revival, with strong fundamentals in the economy, are being recognized the world over. Prime Minister Fumio Kishida was in Delhi for 2 days very recently, and he too has acknowledged the fact that India is a very strong partner, a special strategic and global partner for Japan, with a commitment now to bring in over the next 5 years $42 billion worth of public and private investments. We need to change with the times, but we do not need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. It is not necessary to change in the manner that the Russians did after the Bolshevik Revolution, or in the manner in which the Chinese communists did after the Communist Party of China came into being in 1921, or after they took over power in 1949. We need to preserve all that is good in our great culture. We need to preserve our ancient traditions, our values, and at the same time, move with the times. Move with the changing scenario. Adapt to the new challenges and the new opportunities. And I have every reason to believe that we can do this provided we are united, provided we hang in together, provided we do not allow divisive forces to create any kind of misunderstanding within society. And one of the great things that RKC has always bequeathed to all of us is that great tradition of unity. The RKC fraternity, today represented by so many of you eminent personalities present here this evening, has one of the most vibrant, strongest, and most committed alumni associations that I have seen anywhere in the world. It only takes a WhatsApp message or an SMS or an email to get to any corner of the world. And again, in the great traditions of our school, to help one another, regardless of who you were, what your background was. And I think that is something that we can be immensely proud of. our infrastructure, the great facilities that we had in school, these are not to be found anywhere in the world. I have traveled far and wide, across the continents. Some years ago, I was in London and I wanted to go and see Eton. For I had read that our school was the first of the three King's colleges, later known as the first of the three Chiefs colleges. Foundation stone was laid in 1868. The school was functional by 1870. And when I went to Eton, imagining that we were cloned after Eton, I found infrastructure there inferior to ours. There was nothing of that magic that we have in school, of that grandeur, that architecture, those facilities. I have been to virtually every part of this country and visited regimental centers of the Army, Navy, Air Force. I do that all the time. I haven't once seen anything that resembled the great interior of the Bhausinji Hall. Last year, I was on a visit to Chhattisgarh for some work related to the Mod Plan 3 of the Central Armed Police Forces, including the CRPF. And since I happened to be in Chhattisgarh, in Raipur, I decided to pay a visit to the competition. And the colonel there, the principal, was very happy to receive me. My deputy, Major General Bakshi, was with me. And there were 2 or 3 other serving army officers from my office. So we all went there as a team. They are at least 5 times bigger in terms of the real estate, spread over a magnificent 125 acres. But they didn't have a single building that remotely looked like the Rajkumar College in Rajkot. Not one. They didn't have the great teachers that we have had and continue to have. They didn't have this camaraderie that you have. They didn't have an old boys association that likes to support one another through thick and thin. And I, therefore, would always value this immense opportunity that I had as a child to be educated at the Rajkumar College in Rajkot. I think this is one of a kind in a state such as Gujarat. Today we have a great deal of competition in education. Education is no longer the monopoly or the purview of a few privileged people. Education in India is growing by leaps and bounds, particularly under the government of the day. There is great focus on education for the girl child, and I'm so very glad that the Rajkumar College, after a misogynist 130, 40 years, or maybe 120 years, decided eventually to have gender equality in school as well. But we did change. We moved with the times. This state, this school has also produced many important people who have served the nation well, including in the armed forces. Gujarat is a sensitive state. It's a border state. It has a land boundary with our western neighbor. It also has India's largest and longest coastline. And today, the coastline is also akin to your international border, as was demonstrated during the dastardly attacks in Mumbai, known as 26/11 attacks. In this state that combines Mahatma Gandhi with the great valor and the brave traditions of the Rajput families, the clans of this ancient land of Saurashtra in particular, is again a unique feature of India. Saurashtra has many people. They come from all parts of the subcontinent. When I read the history of Kathiawad, I'm amazed by the fact that virtually all of us came from other parts. The Jadejas, for instance, the great Jadeja clan, like many of the other clans, came from west of India. Centuries ago, they settled in Kutch, and gradually moved to Saurashtra, to Jamnagar, to Morvi, to Rajkot, etc. Likewise, the other great clans, many of whom are represented today by those seated before us. So I'd like to end by simply wishing you all good health and urging you to do the best for your society, for your nation, and for your school. And always to remember those that shaped us, especially our parents and our teachers, our elders. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. May we now request Ayaz Khan, sir. Him for a few minutes, please.
I would now request Yogesh Wadhwana to give a short speech on way forward for RTC alumni.
Yeah, should be fine. Thank you. Thakur Sahib Rajkot, Ambassador Chinoy, Thakur Sahib Lathi, Thakur Sahib Muri, Thakur Sahib Badwan, and my fellow alumni. Most of what I have wanted to speak has already been spoken by Mandata Singh ji and Sujan Bhai. So there's not much left for me to speak. What I wanted to tell our fellow alumni is that we have got the fervor back in our alumni to connect, to meet, to give back to our school. And this has started happening in recent times. Just to let you know, the alumni today is part of the governing council. So the governing council with our two trustees is our alumni. So in a way, they are giving back to the school what they have experienced in life. And we have a school management committee, which is a member of 14 members, of which 8 of us are old boys and girls. So some of us are also giving back in that form to our school. Essentially, what I'm trying to bring about is that we should come back and give back to our school where we have developed our lifetime friendships, our formative years. We have been made into fine gentlemen and ladies. So let's keep this tradition on of trying to give back to our school and to connect, more so to connect with each other. I'll give you an example of what our alumni is doing. I mean, take for example, when we decided to have this function and Ambassador Chinoy was coming here to Rajkot, we said we will have a function in his honor. And Thakur Sahib Rajkot immediately said that I'm going to host it, you know. I said, you know, that's so nice of you. So this is the way for all of us to connect. I mean, the idea is that we should not be meeting once in 4 years or 5 years. We should be constantly getting together, doing things for each other, and also having different programs whereby we can connect with each other. So what I'm trying to do is we are going to institutionalize our alumni, which is going to be participative by everybody, so that everybody can participate in their way, whichever way they want to, you know. And therefore it goes on from one generation to another, and everybody is involved. When everybody gets involved, then we will see more and more connection between people. I'll give you an example. I told you about Thakur Sahib Rajkot, about this evening's function. You know, Ambassador Chinoy helped a fellow Arcasian who is an American citizen now. His wife is also an American citizen, but of Pakistani origin. Now, his name is Shailesh Patel. He's passed out in 1985. He ran from pillar to post for his wife to get a visa to come to India. And everybody refused. So then he approached, somebody told him, please talk to Ambassador Chinoy. And he actually went and talked to him and explained to him what the problem is. Mr. Ambassador Chinoy's first reaction was, this is very, very difficult situation. To get a visa for a person of Pakistani origin is like next to impossible. But he said, let me think about it. And he got back in 24 hours and told Shailesh that you go and give your visa application to a certain person in the Indian embassy in New York. And lo and behold, within 6 months, he could get a visa for his wife to visit India. This is what I'm trying to say. You know, we should help alumni, you know, of our school. And how was he connected to Ambassador Chinoy? Just because he was an Arcasian, you know. So this is what I'm trying to say. But going forward, we've seen some changes in our school lately, all for the good. We have a new CFO, which has brought amazing changes in our financial structure in the school. And going forward, we will see much better performance from there. We also have an alumni, Keyur Mehta. Keyur was Mr. C.M. Mehta's son. And he is now helping us in the HR field. He is a consultant and also free of cost for identifying senior positions which we want to recruit in the school. as well as developing an HR strategy. So that's another alumni who's who's helping us in the school. We also are finalizing an appointment of Mr. Nitin Raikar. Nitin Raikar also, we expect him to do several roles or play several roles in the school. One of the roles which we have identified for him is that he is going to head the alumni office in the school. So we will now have an alumni office who we can talk to, or a person who we can speak to, and he will be managing the whole of alumni affairs from the school on behalf of the school, And in our discussions with our trustees, we have discussed with them, and they are very graciously accepted our wish that it will all be managed and funded by the school, So this will also bring us all much more closer. And then going forward, we are going to have several programs once we are better connected. And then I'm sure a lot of you can participate, contribute back to your school. And there's not much which I can speak after what Mandata Singh ji spoke and Ambassador Chinoy spoke. But let's hope that we can go forward from here, especially for the alumni and our contribution to the school from the alumni. Thank you so much.
We now request Ayaz Khan sir to give us a short speech, please. Ayaz Khan sir, thank you. We now request Ayaz Khan sir to give us a short speech, please.
To ask me to speak after Thakur Sahib Rajkot and Sujan Chinoy is enemy action. I remember how I was awestruck listening to late Thakur Sahib Manohar Singh ji. He spoke so well in English or Gujarati, you couldn't change a word. And it's wonderful to see that his son Thakur Sahib Mandata Singh is doing the same. While Ambassador Chinoy has been addressing international gatherings, so what are we? And I am quite, nervous to be speaking after them. The amazing thing is that Vinesh should ask me to speak when the unanimous feeling is कि आप पीपुड़ी क्या रे बंद थाई. For those who do not know, what I am suggesting is that every night after dinner, when I gave my little sermon as housemaster seniors on the senior house terrace, quietly and not so quietly, somebody or the other said, "Have ya pipudi banthai to saru." So, and here I am. So, if you have to suffer a few torturous minutes, don't blame me. Vinesh is the culprit here. I will try and not speak too long. Means, I have been all my life in the Rajkumar College from 1950 onwards. And if I include 9 years of my father and a year of my grandfather, great-grandfather, I'm as old as the school. And if I start remembering all those lovely anecdotes, good or bad or ugly, there is no end to it. So I'll try to get the essence of what RKC means to me, and I believe to you all. The three persons come to my mind, which Sujan spoke about, and Thakur Sahib also. Mr. Winterblith, Mr. Rogerson, Miss Cooper. 1948 to 2000, 50 years. Each of them, all of them were so different from one another. And all of their approach to schooling was also very different. But there was something very common about these three great mentors of the Rajkumar College. They were superhuman. Their integrity was unquestionable. And their insaniyat was almost godly. And we, knowingly or unknowingly, got drenched in that insaniyat, as it were, and we became better human beings than we would have been otherwise. All of us, to our own capacity, managed to get that. And that insaniyat I might also call RKCism. The goodness. Again, both the speakers spoke about unity, fraternity, brotherhood. And that's what it is all about. And I see it all the time. In fact, I am a blessed receiver of that every moment, though undeserving. And that archaism is seen so much. For instance, Yogesh spoke about Shailesh's wife. Incidentally, she came visiting me, and how he went out of his way to help them. Tricky situation for an officer in a delicate position. I remember ringing up Sujan and saying, a rather naughty friend of mine, Colonel Ajit Dudani, is coming to Japan. I was with him from 9 to 12 at dark, and he said, Sujan is coming. My God, oh, the way he treated me. Oh, he sent his car. Oh, he called me. He asked my sister-in-law to come. And he says, Maro bhav vadhi gyo. They said, oh, he's such an ambassador, such a big person is your friend. That is Sujan. I remember also asking him to find out about Mr. Menon's son, who had disappeared in Russia. And he turned heaven and earth to get us the news, which was rather sad. But those are minor things for him. He has done so many things. You just had to say RKC, and he goes out of his way to help. And that's what RKCism is. Thanks to Vinesh, who invites me always to see this cultural program that is put up every year. And there I was sitting on 5th, 6th row. In the front row was Thakur Sahib of Rajkot, talking to people. He turns around and sees me, runs up to greet me. That is what I am saying about archaism. This is what I am talking about. This, I believe, we got a lot from our mentors. My wife rang up Pankaj Rayani, saying, sorry, Pankaj, I was to meet you after a couple of days, but we have to, unfortunately, go out. And he says, Madam, don't worry, how is sir? How are you going to Surat? May I send my car? This is it. I can go on and on and on and on about these kindnesses to a person who really doesn't deserve it. Sometimes it manifests itself in a very different way. And still, there is extraordinary love in that. At 1 o'clock at night, the bell rings at my house. I wonder what tragedy is taking place. I run down, open the door, and there are 15 Arcasians standing in a line, trying to touch my feet and say, "Sorry, sir, we felt we should say hello to you." This is not an exaggeration. This is happening all the time. To me, it's totally selfless. There is nothing I can do for them in return. And still, it is happening. On my birthday, every day a cake comes, but there was this one group who brought a cake, asked me to cut it, and they said, "You're going to eat it? We thought you were diabetic and we will eat it, and you'll only cut it," for instance. There are beautiful ways of expressing their kindnesses and love to me. And I wonder why, and they say, "Oh, but you were a very good housemaster." I know that they say it in all honesty. They are not making up. But when I ask myself, and I question myself, what was so great about me as a housemaster or principal? And I can't find one incident when I thought I did more than I should, or I took a special trouble to do something worthwhile. I just did what came to me as should be done. Nothing special was done. I'm such an ordinary man and I'm so aware of it. And still, so much affection and love. This is what RKC has taught us. I was not like Miss Cooper or Mr. Rogerson or even Mr. Winterblith. I shouted, I punished, I smashed. And all those ways, I paditi, and still they love me. I'm sure we made some mistakes. When his ambassador, Sujan, was speaking and he said, "I didn't do everything that I could have." Probably it was our mistake. Probably we missed seeing the potential in a day boy. Probably our concentration was so much on the borders that we missed. So mistakes were made, but love is there. This is what I think is a very important factor. And if it can, this love, this bonding, this fraternity could be shown to an ordinary man like me, I'm sure we can show it to everybody. To each one, to each other, and remain, tightly, a team. All Arcasians, all. We can't love them all. We don't need to hate them. We can't agree with everybody. But we don't need to be violently disagreeing with them. We need to be Arcasians, come what may. Every time you meet, whether in this beautiful environment of the palace or the lawns of Vinicius' company there, or in Delhi, where Kiran arranges together, and in Bombay, Yogesh does, or on the hotels here where Hitesh and Party meet for chai, or that bakery where they get together for omelets. Doesn't matter whether 2 of you meet, or 5 of you meet, or 400 of you meet, or 1,000. Let each of that meet further ignite that flame of Arcasism. And let nothing blow it off. Every time you get together, just be more Arcasians and more Arcasians. Embrace one another with faults and all. That is important. Since Sujan, I can't call him His Excellency or Ambassador. I like to call him Sujan, really. There's something, very special about calling you Sujan. I hope you don't mind. You reach the heights where you deserve all those designations. But for me, he quoted 2 shares. I might end by 2 of my father. इस दहर में हूँ मैं उस ईमान का चिराग हरगिज बुझा न सकी न मुखालिफ हवा मुझे. In this world, I am that lamp of love that no ill wind would be able to blow me off. And another, we talked about Alexander, Sikandar, ultimately वो खाली हाथ गया, क्या ले गया? My father has turned that share a little. જે ખાલી હાથ ગયો એ સિકંદરની વાત છે. જે ખાલી હાથ ગયો એ સિકંદરની વાત છે. હું તમારો પ્રેમ સાથે લઈ જઈશ. Let us do that. Let us all. I am now coming to the end of my life, and I hope Vinesh will not ask me to speak again. I'm going to go take with me sacks full of love, which you have given to a very undeserving person. Thank you so much for being so patient.
Thank you so much, sir. You said it very well. We would be getting over with the program over the next 15 minutes. Please be seated with us till the program gets over. The alumni to respected Arcasian Sri Sujanbhai Chinoy. May I now request Devendra Jadeja, Dharmendra Pal Singh, and Hemant Patel. May I repeat the names? May I request Devendra Jadeja, Dharmendra Pal Singh, and Hemant Patel to give a memento on behalf of RKC alumni. Is Dharmendra Pal Singh here? Okay, he's not there. Super. I request respected Arcasian Sri Sujanbhai Chinoy to please come on stage. May I now request Ketan Tilwa, Puneet Kotak, and Ram Panjari to give a memento to on behalf of RKC alumni to Sri Mahadata C.G. Jadeja, Thakur Sahib of Rajkot. I repeat the names: Ketan Tilwa, Puneet Kotak, and Ram Panjari. Is Jagdish Fafandi here? Could you please come on stage if he's here? So Kumar Shah, with a view to giving a tangible shape to the sense of our gratefulness to RKC, our alma mater, where we all had the honor of studying and imbibing the lessons of life, we hereby, on behalf of alumni, give present trustees a memento, a true reflection of this historic moment and a sense of pride for the institution, and we would request the trustees to place our sentiments in the drawing room of the principal's bungalow. I would request Sri Sujanbhai Chinoy, Sri Vineshbhai Patel and his team members to join us to hand over the memento to the trustees. Thakur Sahib of Lathi, Sri Kirti Kumar C.G. Gohel, and Thakur Sahib of Murli, Sri Jitendra C.G. Parmar. Can we also have Poonjawala on Kumar Shah, Chetan Vyas on stage, please? Thank you. We would now have an open house. We would be appreciating, as a token of appreciation to those who've come all the way to the most senior boy who is amongst us here. Can we have some who's from the 1950s batch? Is anyone here who's from 1950s batch? Please come on stage, please. I believe he's the oldest amongst us. Super. 1955, so is anyone before 1955 here? Oh, we have one more. Please join, everyone. 19. Yeah. We would hand over the memento by Sri Sujanbhai Chinoy. If you could please do the honors. So those who have been here on the stage, we have one memento. We will be sharing the others probably as and when we receive the addresses of the remaining members. Highest concern.
Mrs. Chino and Rani Sahib. Oldest and the youngest. Bande mic 1 inch, right?
Can we have the oldest girl amongst us here? Oldest girl, I believe in the 2000s. I mean, anyone in the batch who were there in early 2000? Okay. Which batch? 2009? Super. So is there anyone who's, I don't think, I believe. I would request Mrs. Chinoy to please hand over a memento to the oldest Arcasian girl here. Now we have the youngest RKC old boy here. 2020, 2021. Which batch? 2020. So is there anyone else who is from 2021 batch? Okay, we have one more. Could you please come on stage? Two more, please. Please come on the stage. Oh, not allowed. Could you please tell your name? Soumya Vyas. Great. Thank you for coming this evening. Is there anyone else? What's your name, please? Krish Barsha. Thank you. Let's give a big round of applause to them. Would request Thakur Sahib of Rajkot Sri Mahadata C.G. Jadeja to hand over the memento to the youngest old boys present for today's function. Do we have the youngest girl here present? Youngest? 2020 batch, 2021? No? 2019? Okay. Okay, so we have a team. Thank you. Thank you for coming over this evening. I think this is the biggest team. Yeah, absolutely. Would request Rani Sahiba to please do the honors. Thank you. I would now request Vinesh Bhai Patel to do the word of thanks.
From our any Arcasians who have come here would like to speak anything before I give the vote of thanks? Anybody would like to say a word? Or કોઈને ઈચ્છા હોય તો આવી જાઓ. ઈચ્છા હોય તો આવી જાઓ. I think the dinner is waiting, that's why nobody is wanting to come. Okay. Yeah. First of all, this great evening that we, just by a WhatsApp message, the technology has and got us all together. We didn't expect this much. We were thinking that 100, 200 maximum. 450 જણા આપણે થઈ ગયા ભેગા. અને નેક્સ્ટ ટાઈમ મને ઠાકોર સાહેબ કહેતા હતા કે આપણે 1000નો ફિગર અડાડવો છે. એટલે તમારી ઈચ્છા હશે તો થશે. Dear all Arcasians, thank you for making this event, the evening, a memorable evening. So many had called up કે ભાઈ we will miss it. એટલે અમે તરત ડિસિઝન લીધું કે ભાઈ આપણે લાઈવ કરવું છે. સો વી કુડ આઈ એમ સીઈંગ શ્યોરલી દેટ એક્રોસ ધ ગ્લોબ રાહુલ પટેલ ઇઝ વોચિંગ અસ રાઇટ ઇન મેરીલેન્ડ ઇન USA. એટલે across the globe we have been able to put this program to them, and I would thank Thakur Sahib of Rajkot to taking this event, making it such, the decoration, the preparation, the everything what he has done it, he's done it. એક વસ્તુ યાદ કરી કરીને એને મૂકી છે. We were also, we didn't know it could happen so good. So thank you sir for it, Thakur Sahib. Sujan is always a good speaker and a great person, always trying to help everybody. We are so proud to have that આપણા સ્કૂલના છે એમ. એટલે થેન્ક્સ સુજાન ફોર સ્પીકિંગ હિયર. આયસ્કાન સાહેબની તો વાત જ કરાય નહીં. જ્યારે હોય ત્યારે વિનેશામ હોકી છે, ઓલું છે, ચાલુ જ હોય છે. Above all this, I would like to say that we will thank our parents for putting us into this school here. It's just because of them that we studied in Rajkumar College, and we were there. We got the opportunity to be in this school and learn this much, try to love each other, and I know this school is great school. We want to make it even greater, and let's move ahead. We'll want everybody to help us in making this school a better school and improving it every day. We want to beat any competition. Jem Sujan bhai kidhu ke he has not seen such infrastructure anywhere. I tell you, we have not seen such students of Arcasi anywhere in the world. Thank you very much. We are having a dinner, and there is a vintage car display just behind here. We can have photographs out there also. There is a great scenery. We can take photographs all together if you wish. So whoever wish to go and have a look out there or continue with the dinner, there are people who might need to travel early. So as it is suitable to you, please move ahead. Thank you very much.
May I request everyone, we have one announcement, please. We've got a sad news of the demise of one of our teachers, Mrs. Saludrai. She's no longer with us. Miss Nalini Saludrai, she's no longer with us. Can we all stand up and have 1 minute silence for ma'am?
Nalini, Mrs. Saludurai was a lifelong friend of mine. We met sometime in 1969 when I was made housemaster of juniors and she was my assistant. And I was with her just about a week back when her son Chippy took her to Philippines. I got a message from Nithila, who was in New Zealand, that I am trying to rush back to my brother's place, but I wonder whether I'll be able to make it. She was to come there on the 25th, and I'm sorry that she didn't. When I think of Nalini, and when I think of the attributes that a good teacher and good person should have, and I keep on talking about integrity, thoroughness, sincerity, and you go on, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 words of quality of a good human being and teacher, you just have to keep on ticking. She had it all. A wonderful person, and I shall miss her immensely. Lovely that we were here to pay her tribute. Thank you.
Can we remain standing as we have our national anthem, please?
Not to end on that extremely sad note, but something also to cheer us up, that with a certain amount of effort, I have played a small role, but an appropriate role in getting a T-55 tank for the Rajkumar College for display on the premises. And also that I've got a fighter aircraft sanctioned by the Indian Air Force. And for both these, items, I owe again a deep debt to the late Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat. For I had spoken to him personally, mentioned about our school, and since we worked together, he was more than ready to help. And it is due to his efforts, the late General Bipin Rawat, that we managed to get these 2 items sanctioned. As and when the school is ready, we can get them across. Thank you.
With that good news, I think we should say 3 cheers for Rajkumar College. Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip! And now we, sorry, you want to say something, sir? Please. Okay. So we have a national anthem, please, and this will be followed by a group photograph on the stage itself. So after the national anthem, a group photograph. Jai Hind. Let's get together for the group photograph at the stage, please. Let's see if we can do it with the gathering numbers.
Hello. Some old boys have not registered their details. We just want that data so that whenever we want to connect next time, it will become easy for us. So those who have not put up the registration at the counter, please put in your names and details. It will help us to connect you next time, please. Thank you very much.